Welcome to another video here on the Giant Take YouTube channel. We obviously had our first podcast video episode drop a little bit earlier, episode 85 of the Giant Take podcast. So if you haven't already, go check it out. But very exciting stuff here happening in Giants land, of Giants news right now. We have Kyle Rudolph, who has signed a 2-year deal worth about $14 million. I saw $16 million thrown around there. That's probably with incentives, stuff like that. But you know what? At first, I was like, interesting. But actually, I really like it. I think it's a perfect deal. Maybe, this is what we'll get into in this episode. We have 4 tight ends now on the roster, and one of them's got to go. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into it. But, I mean, my first thoughts on him, obviously a great player for the Minnesota Vikings, or a pretty good player at least. I wouldn't say a great player, but he's been in the league for about 9-10 years now, and he's going to come to the Giants. After not the best season, actually, with the Minnesota Vikings. He had 334 yards and 1 touchdown, but he had 28 receptions, so that's not that bad. But yeah, I mean, Alex, your thoughts on the signing?
Yeah, so for me, we were talking about a tight end, obviously with Evan Ingram, not maybe the most ideal choice. But for me, with the Vikings, he kind of got pushed out there because of Irv Smith Jr., who was a young tight end for them, who was doing very well. So he kind of got pushed out of the team for that. And obviously also Kyle Rudolph isn't exactly a, down-to-down tight end. He's more of a red zone threat, and you can see that in his tape. And in general, he's a very good red zone threat, but as a normal tight end, just on the 20-yard line, it's not exactly so helpful on your own 20. But I think it's a good signing. I think he kind of contrasts Evan Ingram quite well, with his size. Maybe he's not, he's obviously not as quick as Evan Ingram, but he does have, those hands. I saw a stat from Jordan Ronan. He had 90 attempts in the past 2 seasons or something like that, 74 catches, 0 drops. So definitely doesn't have butterfingers like Evan Ingram. So I think that would be helpful. And I think he could be kind of a safe guy, or one of, those people that Daniel Jones looks to in the end zone. But obviously 4 tight ends, like you mentioned there, Josh, it's going to be interesting to see what we're going to do there, because Kyle Rudolph, I think, could block. I think he might be capable of doing that just with his, sheer frame. Obviously the options are trade Evan Ingram. That's, I think, what many Giants fans want or expect. Everyone's so excited about this. I don't think that's what's happening personally. I think Evan Ingram's here to stay, and I think it's most likely, for me, either Caden Smith or Levine Toilolo that's out the door.
Completely agree, Alex, and I think that's why we made this video, because we'll talk about it right now. Let's give our picks or prediction to who we think will kind of go for the Giants. People are saying the Colts need a tight end, and maybe Evan Ingram goes to the Colts. I don't think that's happening either. But, I mean, it would be cool, right? I mean, replacing Evan Ingram with Kyle Rudolph, I mean, not bad. I'll take it, right? So, but no, I think it's Levine Toilolo that's going to go. I'm going to be completely honest. It's age, right? That's a big thing. Obviously, they've had Caden Smith for a little bit too, but he's a younger player than Levine Toilolo, and Toilolo was brought in to be a blocking tight end. Hasn't really panned out. I mean, we haven't given him many snaps, but I just don't think he's a guy we're going to keep on the team. So I think I'm going to have the Giants cutting Levine Toilolo at some point, even though we actually just got a deal, which is interesting too. So I'm interested to see what they do there and how the cut works with the dead cap. But that's going to be my prediction for if they're going to cut someone. I think that's who it's going to be.
Because of exactly what you said, I think it's going to be Caden Smith who gets cut. We didn't see much from him last season either, to be fair. Everyone was saying Levine Toilolo didn't do much last season. Caden Smith didn't do too much either. I think Kyle Rudolph, as much as he might be capable of blocking, won't be used in, as a blocker as much as we might expect. So I think Levine Toilolo will still have a role on this team. So for me, I think he's still staying. And I think Caden Smith still on his rookie contract, obviously, which would be cheaper, as what was he, a 6th-round pick for the 49ers a few years ago. So he's obviously not getting paid a lot, but I think Levine Toilolo is the one to stay. And Caden Smith's going to go, in my opinion. But I'm hoping that Caden Smith does stay, but I just don't think so, especially considering they just signed him to a deal. It's weird that you just sign someone and then let them go like 2 days later. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I think you were talking about Toy Lolo and where he was drafted, Alex.
Caden Smith, I mean, he was,
Kane
I was
Smith.
talking about, yeah, 6th round 49ers, right?
Let's see. I'll get to that now. Toy Lolo was a 4th-round pick for the Falcons, actually, which is pretty interesting. But here, let me
Yeah.
pull up Smith right now. Yep, you're right. 6th-round pick by the San Francisco 49ers. Look at you, Alex. 6th-round pick in
Pro
2019.
knowledge.
Pro
Yeah,
knowledge. Pro knowledge
pro
from
knowledge.
Alex. There we go. There we go. Dropping the dimes here on the Giant Take Podcast YouTube channel. The other thing we got to talk about here, and I think we'll get to it right now, as I've noticed my room has just gotten extremely dark here. This is, I mean, it was dark to start out the video, man, but it's gotten super dark. I guess we got another storm coming in here, Alex, in Jersey. But Kenny Golladay, he visited the Chicago Bears last night, walked out without a contract, and now he's coming into the Giants tonight. So he's flying in. He's got to pass the COVID protocols this afternoon, late afternoon, and then tonight apparently he's going to have a meeting with Coach Dave, or GM Dave Gettleman. Excuse me. He'll probably meet Coach Joe Judge as well. And everyone on Giants Twitter is saying don't walk out without a contract. And I think we're starting to see those verified check marks also say that. I saw Art Stapleton earlier. Giants writers saying that the plan is to give him a contract. I feel like that's pretty obvious. And it is a big deal that he walked out of Chicago and the Bears facility or wherever he went, meeting with the Chicago Bears staff without a contract. Meaning they obviously didn't agree on a deal maybe, or they didn't even offer him one. They just talked about, the basics. And that he's coming to New York, I think that's a really big thing. So I think, as the days or the hours have gone on, I've started to just kind of adjust to him already being a part of the Giants, as we heard that. And then you have the Cincinnati Bengals giving him a 1-year deal, but we never heard about the Bears stuff until just recently, about an hour or two ago. So it's very interesting things. If he walks out with a contract tonight, you'll probably get a video from us in the near future, whether it's tonight, depending how late it is, or tomorrow morning. It's at some point we'll talk about it. But yeah, I mean, just some breaking news that we're hearing.
Yeah, and obviously another team that was rumored with him was the Dolphins. They just signed Will Fuller, so that's another team who I think will now be out of that race as well. So you're really looking at the Bengals with their 1-year deal. I don't think Kenny Golladay wants to go there. There's no point of going from the Lions to the Bengals. It's kind of like going from the same team, basically, both poorly run organizations. I'm not saying that the Giants is the most well-run organization either, but I think we're on a better track than those two. But Kenny Golladay, obviously, they're going to do a physical as well. If he is able to pass that and everything looks good with his health, I do agree with Josh. I think he'll be a New York Giant probably by the end of the night.
Yeah, it'll be nice, I think, if he is a Giant by the end of the night, depending on the money. If we just know that he's a Giant without telling me the money tonight, I think I could take a nice and easy deep breath in and out, right? I think, room to let it flow. And then tomorrow, if you give me the money and it's bad and I don't like it, then we'll worry about it tomorrow. But it's like a 9:30, 10 p.m. type of thing, and they let me know then. Just going to take a deep breath and take it in and have Kenny Golladay as a New York Giant. And you know what? To hear that we're going to have Kenny Golladay, left to right? We're lining them up, our threats right now. Kenny Golladay on the left side, and then the right side, you have 2 receivers. You're going to have Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, and you can pick between Evan Ingram and not Caden Smith, because we might cut him, as Alex has just said, between Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram at that tight end position. Maybe you have 2 tight ends there, so have both of them, one of them blocking, one of them going for a route. Saquon Barkley in your backfield with Daniel Jones and shotgun. Giants weapons don't look that bad. I'm gonna be honest, but we have to see what happens with Kenny Golladay. Alex, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We'll just all stay calm. Mike Glennon's also here. If that's any news, he signed a 1-year deal. He's the replacement for Colt McCoy, so he's here. Obviously, all the social media memes about Mike Glennon, but it's exciting that he is here. Just for the laughs,
Just for the laughs. I mean, he's a backup quarterback. Hopefully he won't have to play in a game like Colt McCoy did. But let's just say that game didn't end in that bad of a way for Colt McCoy. But anyway, we'll get out of that. Wherever you're listening to this episode, please subscribe. Or this episode, whoa, I'm like doing a podcast. If you haven't already, actually, listen to our episode. We posted it a few hours ago. Check out our film reviews on the new Giants signings of John Ross and Devontae Booker. We really appreciate that. And then what else, Alex? Drop a like on this video too on the YouTube stuff. Gotta get that YouTube stuff out of there. And like I said earlier, Kenny Golladay will obviously address it in an upcoming YouTube video if he does sign with the Giants or any updates on him or Giants free agents. But tomorrow, we don't know exactly what time yet, but be on the lookout for a Kyle Rudolph film review. Right, Alex? We're good with that?
Yeah, and also I'm gonna have trouble pronouncing his name here, but an Afidi Adenigbo. I think his film review will also be out tomorrow. I'm really sorry to him if he listened to that, me just pronouncing his name terribly. But his film review will be out tomorrow. Yesterday.
Whoa, we're going back in time. We're going back in time. Yeah, so we already filmed that one, and I probably pronounced it incorrectly in that video too. Kyle Rudolph has not been filmed yet, so we'll film it eventually tomorrow and then release it tomorrow as well. But yeah, just subscribe and ring that notification bell as well. Press on that notification bell so you know when all of those videos are out and won't have to rely on me giving you a specific